Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tales from Retail. In today's episode, we are unprofessional and stupid because I can't return something that's not from our store. Aggressive man accuses me of pressuring him. Would-be shoe thief is caught in the act. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. We are unprofessional and stupid because I can't return something that's not from our store. I work in returns at a major department store. I've been doing it 6.5 years, and I know most of the lookup tricks and ways to do a return. Last night I went on break and had a girl that I started training a month ago cover my break. I come back and she's doing a non-receipted return for a bunch of kids/juniors clothes, but she's stuck on one. The tag is on it luckily because it's one that doesn't have a UPC in it, and when she scans it the computer says UPC not found, which means it's probably not ours. She says I can't find this on our website, and it won't scan, so I don't know how to return it. The customer starts making rude comments because we are taking too long. I go and do a quick search online and no go. I go to the back computer and look in our database with the UPC on the ticket and the style number, and I even drill down through brand and look in boys and girls departments since it was a size 18/20 and definitely not juniors as she claims. The lady meanwhile has forgotten her wallet for the return and doesn't have her phone or ID, and went out to her car to get them. She comes back 5 minutes later and says my mom bought them for me, but I lost the gift receipt, so I'll call her and ask for the receipt. Okay, I can look up all the ups on the receipt and see if this has an alternate UPC I'm not finding in my system. My mom can't find the receipt and she paid cash. Just give me what she paid for it. Coworker looks at me and I say, ma'am, I'm sorry, but I can't return something our computer system has no record of selling. This UPC doesn't work in our computers, and I have no other way to look it up. She says, well, it says it's $22, just give me that. Yeah. No. She then calls her mom again and hangs up like 10 seconds later and says my mom wants me to talk to a manager. This woman is easily 50 years old and still calling her mom, if she even actually called anyone. I call for a manager and the manager asks if I looked in the database, and I said yes, UPC not found, and it's red. The manager says sorry. Can't return it. It's not ours. The lady then takes her merchandise credit for the rest and immediately flips it into a new sale, the whole time telling us we are stupid, unprofessional, stealing from her, and she's going to report us all to corporate. Then she asks when our Black Friday sales start as she will want to return everything and rebuy it then to save money. I do it all the time and it saves me so much. So now I can't wait for her to come in and do a return rebuy, and have the prices changed to buy one get one 50% off, and have her return get voided because the new sale prices are higher, so I can get called unprofessional and stupid again. I hope she does call corporate. I'm pretty sure she will eventually get flagged for fraud and everything will have to go corporate refund. Aggressive man accuses me of pressuring him. Hello there, my fair retail workers and Reddit users alike. Around this time of year, all sectors of retail are working their asses off to help Joe Public have a Merry Christmas, and, as much as many people don't think of charity/thrift shops in such scenarios, we too work hard to help provide the top quality and second-hand gifts for the holidays. Whether it's just someone looking for last-minute presents or struggling parents looking to make the holiday special with what little they have, we may not be as busy as the big chain stores, but we still try our best, most of us simply out of the charitable kindness of our hearts. And so, I come before you today to give my outlook on this time of year, and to share a story from my Christmas shift in the volunteer retail industry, that is, the work of those who work in a charity shop, or a thrift store if you're one of my readers from across the pond. I'll preface the story by saying that I myself am a volunteer. I'm special needs and so was set as a volunteer to raise my confidence, have now found myself at minimum wage with many years of hard work and people skills. My boss tells me I'm an asset, great with customers and polite, which is why I feel I have stepped up in my field. I like to help people, but even so, I have my share of problems, as the following anecdote will point out. But I digress. On Wednesdays and Saturdays on the street outside the shop where I work, there's a big market that draws in lots of shoppers from street to shop. Recently we've been working on selling tickets for our annual Christmas raffle, and my boss, let's call her R, had me standing by the door, greeting customers and inquiring whether they were interested in participating, to which many were, and we sold quite a few tickets thanks to my friendly nature and polite greetings to visitors. I think they were glad of a friendly face rather than the "you will partake" approach. Around 3:30 to 3:45 p.m., the shop was getting a little quieter. So, having ants in my pants, I decided to go do some tidying of the shelves, as children were known to pull things off shelves and some people just flat out threw clothes back onto the rail without hanging them. I'm alternating from raffle to shelves when I spy a family walk in, a mom, a dad, a 5-year-old, and a pushchair. I greet them and inquire if they'd like some tickets. They just ignore me and pass by, so I just shrug it off and go back to my two duties, passing by the guy a few times on my rounds and, not on purpose, but rather because he's in my path, looking at him and mumbling a shy, uneasy "sorry, excuse me, thank you." Once I'm sure everything's clean, I return back to the raffle table to fill in any ditto tickets I'd forgotten to fill in, as I'm sure that there's no one left to ask as the store is super close to closing. As I'm doing so, I sense a figure looming over me. I look and the man's standing there glaring at me. I think he's wanting some tickets, so I take my pen from behind my ear. Me, good afternoon, sir. How many can I dash? Man, are you following me? Me, pardon? Man, you've just followed me around that rail and back 3 times. I'm confused and try to understand why he'd think like that. Sometimes my condition makes me look as if I'm staring, and I don't always know I'm doing so. So I politely try to explain that I have Asperger's and can't always control myself from staring into space. But it doesn't seem like he's willing to listen. He looks like he's about to punch me. Man, what? You think I'm a shoplifter or something? You're making me feel pressured. I'm not buying any of your B***starred tickets either. You can shove them up your arse. Me, sir, I'm sorry. I was just doing my job. I'm standing frozen in place with this man nearly a head taller than me squaring up to me. Luckily at this point, P sees there's an issue, and after asking a customer to give her a moment comes straight to my aid like the hero she is. Now P is small, barely 5'2", but she's a Rottweiler when situations call for it, and this was certainly one of those times. P, is there an issue here, Creative Mushrooms? I'm about to speak when the guy butts in. Man, are you the manager? P, I am, can I help you? Man, any chance you could tell your staff that it's not polite to make people feel pressured? I feel like I've been profiled. P, Creative Mushrooms? I explain my situation to P and she tells me to go serve whilst she deals with the customer. I'm anxious of getting my first ever warning for something that I didn't do, and am practically close to crying at the thought of losing my job. A few minutes later, P takes me to one side and explains to me that it wasn't my fault, and that the guy had tried the same thing with a few of my colleagues, suspecting that he may have been on something. She doesn't tell me off but instead praises me for staying professional and trying to apologize despite there being no need. I've got to wonder though, was it a case of guilty conscience? Or am I just too docile looking for my own good? Would-be shoe thief is caught in the act. When I worked for a charity thrift shop, I would come across several types of customers and, unfortunately, shoplifters. I had just finished ringing up a customer and about a split second later, I came across a guy we'll call Matt. Matt was holding a pair of our shoes in one hand, a price tag on one of his fingers on the other hand. On his feet were a pair of our shoes with his pair neatly tucked away to the side. The price tag on his hand came from the shoes he had on. Matt then rambled on about how he sold someone a phone for $X amount, and that the person told him he could have a credit toward anything in the store. I told Matt that there was no possible way this could have happened since we never operated like that. In fact, the name of the person he gave me as the recipient of the phone was a name I did not recognize. He kept repeating his story, so my awesome coworker, ACW, told me she was going to grab the manager. I stalled the guy by asking him questions about this alleged phone sale and store credit. Manager comes in and asks him if he would like to purchase the shoes he was wearing. I couldn't hear the rest of the conversation, but Matt eventually takes the shoes off and leaves his old pair neatly on the floor and walks around in his socks while complaining that he wanted to take our shoes. Manager tells me to put the shoes away, and I get down to doing my assigned tasks. About a split second later, I turn my head to find Matt with the shoes in his hand and my manager taking them from him. Sometime later, while doing my assigned work, the manager tells me that she doesn't see Matt in the store, so we assume that he left. ACW pulls me aside and tells me that earlier, she caught him trying to put on our shoes while taking the tag off and putting his shoes on the floor, hence me catching him with our merchandise and the tag that went with them.